Here we have tonight a fairly recent, meaning last 25, 30 years, cubic communications receiver. It's a model SMR-2400. It's been being made generally from about 1998 till 2010 to 2013 time frame. Hard to know exactly when they stopped making them, but they were in use up until then at least. So one of the more modern cubic ones. We've had some other videos with the ones with the direct keypads entries and the duals, and this is a single radio inside a chassis. Chassis is a little deeper than others. As you see, it's a 22-inch deep for some reason. And when you look inside the box, it's very empty. It's only 4 circuit boards, a speaker, and various knobs and buttons and arrays and things like that. But it's a DSP receiver, which means digital signal processing, which means it's actually the bandwidths and all are controlled digitally. They don't have an analog filter installed like some of the older ones did. So this is actually more along the lines of the probably more along the lines of the Watkins Johnson you see above. Around the year 2000 and the years immediately following that. That's what they were talking about. So take it through its paces a little bit here. I'll turn it on, and I think one of the things you'll notice when you first come in is this huge speaker on the front of it. The sound quality on this is just phenomenal, and you really don't need an external speaker with this.
You're listening to Stardust with Ziggy on Zoomer Radio.
Here's this great bass response, and it's very audible, very clear. And that's an AM station from Canada, of course, one I usually listen to a lot of times. But we've got a number of different features on this. So you notice if you turn this little tiny tuning knob here, it has a little flange on it. You can do it, but a little thumb wheel or something like that. You have to have different modes in the screen here. You go there, and then you can tune. So you can see, you can also change the rate at which you tune. Like you see there, it's very fine, 1 hertz. You can move this all the way up to where, all the way over there, but not very useful. So for AM radio, that's probably a good tuning right there. So that's usually where I leave it. But anyway, all you have here is the fluorescent screen display, which everything's functioned through there. And then you have your control buttons down here, direct entry numbers here. And then you have the various functions. I'm going to actually cancel that so we get back to the normal screen. So you see this button goes there. Not too hard to figure out. There is one button where it controls the meters, because you say, well, where's the VU meter? You have the squelch and you have the AGC and all those settings. If you hit this, then you get the little semicircle displays down the bottom that kind of give you a digital readout of the RF and the AF and the frequencies, which is what you normally see on a VU meter on a machine. So, but if you hit another button, it goes back away. So that's meant to basically give you a guideline about how to do it. It's not, and it's very precise because it's all digital, right? The math is done inside the machine and inside the computer chips. So basically, when you go through this, the fluorescent display, it kind of dates the machine a little bit when it comes to this. This looks a lot like, when I see this type of display, I think of a late 80s, early 90s GMC automobile dashboard or something like that. It's a car radio, but obviously it's a much more sophisticated one than there, but the technology is pretty much the same. So if you do, let's go through some of the features here. You have frequencies. Frequency, you can adjust the frequency as we saw there, and cancel that. You have mode, which gives you single sideband, LSB, USB, Morse code, CW, AM, and the next key over here will, as you can see, sends you to ISB, independent sideband, FM, pulse modulation, and frequency shift key. So, and then you go back. That's what you get in the mode. And bandwidth, it has some presets here that you can actually set. If you go to next, it gives you another array of those, all the way up to 16 kilohertz. And it goes all the way down to 0.1, 100 hertz, which is great for like CW, close CW, if you're trying to discern a signal among a bunch of other signals. Anyway, so you have squelch, you have gain, and I'm not going to go through all of those, but the BFO only works, and IF shift, of course, only works in the CW mode. Then you have skip, store, and recall. Those are for memories. I'm going to fill out recall. I've programmed some of these in here. So if I want to do channels, if you see, the channel would go here, and the frequency it's channeled to is here. So if you see that, they change. And if I wanted to go to that particular, I said, let's go to this one, the CHU. Get back down. Anyway, and I hit enter, and I go here. I got CHU Canada, time signal. So that's what you get there. And you can define the bandwidth and the frequency and all that kind of stuff through this, and they all are channel specific, and you can tell your channel up here. So I'll write that down. So that's how we talk about that. You got scanning. It scans frequency ranges. You can also scan the channels you set in there, so you can set it up and it can just cycle through those to see. So if you're basically monitoring some type of station that you really want to listen to, it'll actually go through and let you know when something's actually active. Well, it's not like one of these, a real scanner where it goes through and detects the signal. This just has a time delay between the different things, different stations when it advances. Dwell and bridge, those are functions that I'm not going to talk about here since I haven't used them very much. You can run this in local or remote, so it is remotely controllable through RS-232. Yeah, but since we're running it from the front panel, it's all local. You can test the system, which tell you where it tells you if there are faults. No current faults, thank goodness, right? You have your system, which tells you it tells you when this particular the firmware on this is version 1.5 from April of 1999. So that kind of dates the radio there. And the firmware is the DSP firmware is from December of 1998. So that's when they were building these things and assembling them and designing them originally. So I'm not aware of any kind of so we just go back to any of the other buttons and it puts this out front. Anyway, so that's kind of what this radio looks like. Volume, headphone jack, that's it. Tuning, and then the buttons we just saw. So it's fairly simple to control. If it's not too heavy in the menus, it's pretty intuitive. It's a joy to work with. This is a radio which is, you put it on an AM radio station on a strong signal, and it'll run you out of the room almost from a volume standpoint. So Cubic got this one right, I think. And of course, most of their radios are pretty good, I think, in my opinion. I've got several. Anyway, so that's pretty much what we're talking about. One of the things I do want to mention is the bandwidths and things like that we talked about, the different values you can get here. You can program those into the various positions on here. In fact, I changed this from 100 hertz to 3.2 kilohertz. I wanted it a little bit broader than a 2.8 for single sideband. In AM, you have full selectability, as well as in pulse modulation and FM. In single sideband, LSB, USB, and CW, you have anywhere from 0.1, 100 hertz to 6 kilohertz you can select. But in ISB, it's fixed at 2.8 kilohertz. So, that's what you're going to get if you go to ISB, which is basically taking both. So we go to mode, ISB, see it automatically says 2.8. And I've tried to enter in other bandwidths on this, and it just beeps at me, see? So it's not going to let me do that. But this is basically listening to both upper and lower sidebands at the same time. This one actually, because you can see it's ISB and it's using the upper sideband because it has a little U. If it was L, if it was listening to lower sideband, it'd be a little L there. So I hope this has been entertaining, useful. If you have any comments or experience with this radio, feel free to comment, and we'll look forward to seeing you in the next movie, in the next video, not a movie. All right, talk to you later. Bye.